Okay, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining us today. My name is Chris, and I am the Shortcuts Educator for the Southeast. So today we are going to be going through the cloud appointment book, how to set that up and everything sort of related cloud-based. Just before we get started, this session is going to be recorded and it will be posted onto YouTube. You will also be sent a recording of it as well, just in case you do wish to refer back to at any point. Of course, please make sure your speakers are turned up nice and loud just so you can hear me. I know sometimes we do get people listening with a headset and a microphone. Just make sure your microphone is muted as well, just so it doesn't sort of interrupt us just as we sort of move forward. A little bit of sort of housekeeping as well with this. We hope to get the training session done within about 45 minutes to an hour. You are more than welcome to ask me questions throughout the session, but we will have a question and answer session at the end as well. Okay, perfect. So let's move on. Okay, so the cloud appointment book, cloud reporting and targets. So basically, as we can see, welcome to our cloud appointment book. It's a fairly new feature to Shortcuts. You can now view your entire appointment book on a mobile phone, a tablet, computer, anything like that. Basically anything with an internet device, because it's just a simple web page, a simple URL. Okay, and cloud reporting gives you all of your essential business reports. Unfortunately, we don't have every report available to us, but it is our essential business reports. We are able to access something what we call a dashboard, which again is accessed via any internet enabled device, and this will show your KPIs, but we will go through this in much more detail in just a few moments. And of course, lastly, targets. This is a brand new feature that we're launching, and it allows your staff to track their KPIs, again, their key performance indicators, again, from any internet device. So the idea of this, guys, is just so they can keep track of their goals and keep an eye on them and smash them. Okay, so in this session, we will be covering how to set up the cloud appointment book. Of course, that's very important. How to navigate your way around and understand the functions of the appointment book. Now, don't worry, it's very, very easy and it's very, very similar to your standard shortcut system. We will, of course, be looking at how to give your employees the relevant access. So this is a bit like security in Shortcuts. Understanding your reports and how to track your business and employee targets. Perfect. So as you will know, for those of you that I've seen before on my webinars, you can contact us at education@shortcuts.co.uk. Please be aware this is a Monday to Friday inbox. You can also call us 24/7 on 0161 972 4900. So like I said, we will have a question and answer session at the end. Perfect. So let's jump straight into it. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to open up an internet page and I'm going to search for our online system console. That is the first thing we're going to do. So our console is console.shortcutsoftware.com. Okay, that is the first thing we are going to do. Now you'd pop in your username and password. Now, if you wish to set someone up as a completely brand new user to the cloud appointment book, there are essentially two ways to do it. You can set someone up with access once you're in the cloud appointment book, but you can also set them up in the console as well. Now, I'd usually recommend setting them up in the console if you want to give them like full-on access pretty much to everything. So think if you're setting up your company managers, your directors, okay? So the first way we're going to set someone up is if we click into site settings just down here. And then on the right-hand side of our navigation bar, you will see where it says Manage Users, just on the far right-hand side. So if we click onto the Manage Users, you will see a list of already of your users. So this may be if they're already using functions such as Anywhere. Okay, so if you wish to set up a brand new user, again, this is the first way we can set someone up with access to the cloud appointment book. On the right-hand side, we're just going to choose the relevant site. If you have more than one site, the list will be displayed here. You can, of course, give access to both sites if you wish to. Underneath, all you need to do is once you've chosen the correct site is just click Add a New User. We're going to click the second option where it says Create a New User that is a point of sale employee, because that's anyone with a Shortcuts PIN. Choose the relevant site. Again, that's Shortcuts Software UK. That's the site I wish to set them up for. And we would just link it to that specific employee. Click the Continue button to press on. Okay, at this point we would pop in our staff members' personal email. Now the reason we pop in their personal email is because their email address does become their username, and they will of course be emailed a random password to that as well. Okay, so you can see my email has now become my username. and I can continue filling out the rest of my personal information. Okay. Ensure this box is ticked to ensure that this staff member is active, and if at any point you need to restrict the access or if they move away or anything like that, you can pop a tick in the locked out box. Okay, now essentially at this stage there are 4 roles available to the Cloud Appointment Book if you're setting it up through the console. So there's 4 roles available. Okay, so there is the company manager and the call center operator. A company manager and a call center operator will grant access to everything. So have full access to reports, targets, everyone's column, all the configuration items, everything like that. Okay, so everything in the Cloud Appointment Book. So that's our first 2 roles, the company manager and call center. I would recommend ticking these 2 together. The other 2 roles we have available to us. Sorry, the other 2 roles, my mic glitched out there, I do apologize. The other 2 roles we have available to us. If we click down here, you will see we have a site manager and we have an employee role available. Our site manager role will give full access to just the one specific site. So as you can see at the moment, we are just looking at Shortcut Software UK. So this will just give full access to all the configuration items, everything within the Shortcut Software UK site. If we click onto the employee role, this will give this staff member access to their own appointment columns only, and they can only update their client cards within the working day. Outside the working day, it is a view mode only. Okay, so that is the 2 roles available. If you did want to give access at another site, all you would need to do is click the Add Sites button, and you can add the second site in there as well. Okay, and that's all you would need to do. Once you're happy, all you need to do is click the Save button. Now at this point, they will be emailed a password. Again, their username is their email address, and they will also be given the link to the Cloud Appointment Book. Okay, so that is the first way to set up the Cloud Appointment Book. So if we just go back to the beginning, that is the first way we can set up access to the Cloud Appointment Book. The second way is within the Cloud Appointment Book. Now, there are 2 ways to access the Cloud Appointment Book. The first way is to simply click in the right-hand corner just here where it says Shortcuts Cloud. And once we click onto that, it will open up our web page for us. Okay, and we can see that here. If not, if you just simply want to type in the URL for the Cloud Appointment Book, it is just pos.shortcutsoftware.com. Okay, so it's the 2 ways, first of all, to get into the Cloud Appointment Book. If you're already set up as a console user, your username and your password will be exactly the same for the Cloud Appointment Book. Okay, so just to reiterate, that is setting someone up in the cloud for the Cloud Appointment Book from the console. The second way to set up a user for the Cloud Appointment Book is actually in the Cloud Appointment Book, and that's what we're going to do now. Okay, so if we want to set up a user inside the Cloud Appointment Book, all we would do is click onto the menu button, and on the left-hand side, we're going to click onto Employees and Rosters. We can click onto Employees, and on the far left-hand side, you will see a list of all of our employees. Once we've chosen a specific employee, right down the bottom, you will see it says Roles and Login. All we need to do is toggle login access to yes, and again, we can also set up access this way. So you will see my username is my email address. Now, as I'm on a test system, I don't have my 2 roles available to me for this, but underneath you would see there were 2 roles, one that said site manager and one that said employee. Now, again, the site manager will give full access to everything at just this site, so including configuration and reports and things like that. An employee will give access to your own appointments only, okay? And you can only update your client record cards within the working day. Okay, so as I said, I'm just using a test system. That's why my 2 roles aren't available, but of course yours will be. So then all you need to do is click the done button and it will say login access successful. At that point, they would be emailed a random password, and I would definitely recommend changing the password. So if you did wish to change your password, all you need to do is firstly log in. And in the top right-hand corner, you will see where it says my name. Click onto that and just click onto change password and make it something a little bit more memorable. Okay, now if you're familiar with our functions such as Anywhere, you will know that we can save them as an app on our phone, because as you can understand, it's going to be a little bit time consuming if every time we want to access the Cloud Appointment Book, we have to type in pos.shortcutsoftware.com or of course access it through the console. So once we've got the website open up on our phone, If we want to add it as an app on our phone, if we are using an iPhone, down the bottom you will see a square with an arrow facing upwards. All we need to do is click onto this and click the button where it says Add to Home Screen, and that will save the pos.shortcutsoftware.com URL, the Cloud Appointment Book, to your home screen. And of course, if you're using an Android, such as your Huawei, your Samsungs, that kind of thing, in the top right-hand corner, when you're looking at it on your phone or your tablet, you will see 3 dots. All you need to do is click onto these and do exactly the same, press Add to Home Screen, and that will save it as an app for you. Okay, so now we've set up our staff members, what we can now do is have a look at the relevant access our site managers and our employees have. We can have a look at the access these roles have. So to tweak this and change this, again, this is a bit like security in Shortcuts Fusion. To do this, we would click onto the menu button, and we would click onto the general settings button. We would click onto the roles button on the far right hand side, and you will see there we have our 2 roles, our employee and our site manager. And you will see who's already set up as an employee, and you will see who's set up as a site manager. So you will see if we click on employee, you can see here the relevant access that an employee has. So you can see they can view my appointments, create my appointments, and so forth. And of course, if we click onto Site Manager, we can see the permissions they have. So just like in Shortcuts Fusion, your site managers have a slightly higher level of access. Okay, but let's say we wanted to tweak that, we wanted to change it, we wanted to grant some access, or we wanted to restrict the access. So if we click onto the employee button, and let's say we click onto the permissions button just here, you will see we have each category available for our permissions. So if I expand appointments, I can then toggle this, here, so that an employee role can now view the appointments of others. They can create the appointments of others, and so forth. And you can do that exactly the same in your site manager role as well. Now, we have kind of set this up as a bit of a default, so it should work pretty much seamlessly for you. Like I said, if you do need to change and tweak the employee role, the site manager role, this is where you do it. And when you're happy, all you need to do is click the Done button. Perfect. So that's setting up our users for our Cloud Appointment Book, and we've just looked at restricting and granting access for our Cloud Appointment Book as well. So now, of course, the most important thing is how do we use the Cloud Appointment Book? So as I said right at the beginning, the Cloud Appointment Book is a fully functioning appointment book. Think of it as a bit of an extension of your reception desk. Okay, it syncs in real time. It can be used on any internet-enabled device. As we've seen, it's just a simple URL, pos.shortcutsoftware.com. And you can have it on as many devices as you like. Now, we'll take into consideration any resources, capabilities, anything like that you already have set up in your main shortcut system. Okay, so let's have a look at the Cloud Appointment Book. So if we click onto the Appointments button just here, you will see this is our Cloud Appointment Book. So you would already notice it's not too dissimilar to your main Fusion system. You will see we have a list of all of our employees along the top, and the pictures have also pulled through. Now, one of the main differences with the Cloud Appointment Book is the background is white, okay? And also you will see there is an hour marker on each of our columns, again, making it really easy to identify the correct appointment and book the appointment in. In the top left-hand corner, you will see a calendar. If we click onto that, we can choose a specific date or a specific day. You will also notice down the bottom we have the same buttons available to us just like we have in Fusion. So at any point, we can click back to today. We can skip forward a day, and we can skip forward a week. You can also perform a view week mode in the Cloud Appointment Book as well. So let's say I wanted to look at Jess's full week. If I click onto Jess and click the View Week button in the bottom left-hand corner, you will see we are now looking at Jess's full week. Perfect. And what we can also do, we can filter our appointment book down just like we can in Fusion. So you will notice my stylists such as Trev and Jane, they're not set to work today. Well, we can filter that down so we can remove them from the appointment book. So in the top left-hand corner, you will see this sort of upside down triangle. And if we click onto this, this is where we can filter down. Now, one great thing that we can do in the Cloud Appointment Book is we can save our filters. So if I toggle my rostered on, this will only show my appointments that my employees, that are working today. Okay, and then we can save this filter just down here. We just give it a filter name. So if I call it rostered on staff, and then I click the save and apply. So you'll now see we are only looking at staff members that are set to be rostered on today. And at any point, we can click on the All Employees button. Now, you will notice I have two. I've got rostered on staff and rostered on. This is because it's a test system, and I, of course, already done this before in a previous webinar, but you can have as many filters as you want. Okay, perfect. So let's make an appointment. Again, it's exactly the same as making an appointment in Fusion. Okay, so I'm going to make an appointment in Sarah's column, and I'm going to make it at 11:15. So I'm going to tap onto it with my finger, and you can see it has opened up my customer section on the right hand side. We can search for customers in the big white box here. We can also look for recent customers, any checked out customers, or any remaining customers for today. We can also add a brand new customer in down the bottom as well. And we can, of course, add our tasks in, such as our lunch, our do not move, and so forth. So I'm going to search for my client, and I've typed in Amy there. I'm going to choose the correct client, and you will see it has opened up all of the personal information of this particular client. You can add in any appointment notes here by clicking on the pencil. Underneath, we can see any future appointments to ensure we don't double book this client, and we can also see the last 3 visits. Right at the bottom of the screen in this red bar, this is where any alerts for this client will sit, and we can edit them again by clicking on the pencil. Now, in the Cloud Appointment Book, the alerts is a triangle with an exclamation mark in it. In Shortcuts Fusion, you may be familiar, it's a square with an exclamation mark in it. Okay, so now I'm ready to add in the services to this appointment. I'm going to click the next button. We can search for a specific service category. We can search for a specific service. We can also choose previous services, or we can, of course, choose the normal categories like we can in Fusion. So I'm going to say my client is going to have a ladies cut and finish. So we can now see the employee is Sarah. We can tick this box if it is a request, and we can see how much money this is. So this is quite a cheap ladies cut and blow dry, we can see here. If we do need to change the service at any point, we can click onto the little trash can just here and change it to something else. Click the done button to proceed. And there we go. So we can see the appointment has now been made. And if we hover over the top, we can see what the alert is. Now, this is just a random alert that's been put in just for a bit of a laugh there, because we are on a test system. Okay, so we've now made the appointment. And just like in Fusion, you may be familiar that we can drag the appointment to make it longer and shorter. Now, one thing, this is typically accessed, the Cloud Appointment Book is typically accessed on a phone or a tablet where we don't have access to a mouse. So we're typically just using our fingers. Okay, so if you think about it, we don't have a mouse, so there's going to be no right-click command. Okay, so we're not going to be able to right-click and arrive clients. We can still do all of that in the Cloud Appointment Book, but I'm going to show you in a minute how we do that. Okay, so let's say, first of all, I wish to make the appointment longer and shorter. All I need to do in the bottom right-hand corner, and you will see the arrow facing upwards and downwards, I place my finger on it for a split second, and then I just drag down. And you can see I can easily make the appointment longer and shorter. Now, if I wish to move this appointment, let's say from Sarah over to Jess, if I place my finger on the left-hand side where we get this wave in hand, place my finger on the screen for a split second and drag and move it around. And as you can see, I have now moved that over to Jess. Okay, so that's how easy it is. We can make an appointment, make it longer and shorter, and move the appointment around. So as I said a couple of minutes ago, we typically access this on our phones or our tablets. So we don't have a mouse, so there's no right-click command. So if I wanted to arrive this client, all I would need to do is simply tap onto it with my finger. Ooh, this will open up all of the basic information. So this is what we call touch tip technology. And to do a right-click command, you will see the 3 dots in the right-hand corner. If I click onto that, I can now perform my right-click command. So I can arrive the client. If you're using the appointment start setup, you can say the appointment has started. You can no-show, you can review, you can cancel, reschedule, so forth. Now, rescheduling is ever so easy in the Cloud Appointment Book. So let's say I wanted to reschedule Amy's appointment. All I need to do is click onto the reschedule button, and it will open up the calendar for me on the left-hand side. I simply just need to choose a date, i.e. tomorrow, the 24th of August. It will take me to the 24th, and you will now see it says click on a time slot to reschedule. So all I'm going to do is reschedule it to 11 o'clock tomorrow. So I click onto 11 o'clock and click the reschedule button. You will now see the appointment has been rescheduled. So again, I'm going to reschedule it back to today. So for this, I need to do my right click command. So I'm going to tap onto it with my finger, click onto the three dots, click onto the reschedule button. The calendar opens up, we move it back to today. Today is always highlighted in red. Click on a time slot to reschedule and confirm it here. So as we can see how quick and easy it is to reschedule an appointment. Now, if we wish to see the color notes of this client, again, you can grab the tablet if you're accessing this on a tablet in a salon and the receptionist is really busy. You can grab the tablet and you can access your color notes as well. So to do this, all you need to do, again, is tap onto it, click the three dots to perform, again, our right-click command, and go down to customer history. On the left-hand side, this is where it would show all of the previous history and any color notes. So you can see here our visit notes will appear on the right-hand side, and we can simply click into that and edit them if we need to. And this is where, again, all of our history will sit. And at any point, if we wish to go back to the Cloud Appointment Book appointment section, all we need to do is click onto the appointments button. Okay, so the last thing I'm going to do, ladies and gents, I am going to cancel this appointment. So again, I'm going to tap onto it with my finger, click the three dots for my right click command, and I'm going to click the cancel button. And we have the same three options available to us that we do in Fusion. We can add cancellation notes in, we can say whether it was cancelled for no reason. That's usually if we've made a mistake. We can click the no-show button, or we can click the cancelled by customer. Choose whichever specific reason and click the red delete button to confirm it. And you can see it has now been deleted from the Cloud Appointment Book. Okay, perfect. So that, just to reiterate for the first half of our session there, ladies and gents, we have given the correct access for the Cloud Appointment Book, and we've set our staff members up, and we have now looked at how easy it is to navigate our way around the Cloud Appointment Book. So the second half we need to look at is cloud reporting. Okay, like I said, we only have 4 or 5 reports available to us, but it's the main business ones. They're absolutely brilliant to look at. We don't have all of them available, but the main business ones are the ones you're going to be wanting to look at. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is we're going to look at our dashboard. Now, our dashboard is basically a report which gives us a brief overview of our business. Okay, now this is a bit like Scorecard and Spotlight in the console, if you're familiar with that. Okay, so this basically shows us our KPIs, gives us an overview of our business. Now, you'll see right at the top of the page, you will see it says dashboard. So if we click into dashboard, give it a couple of moments just to download all of the information. Okay, so this is our dashboard. Now, with all of our reports and our dashboard, we can set some parameters along the top. So we can change the date range. We can filter between sites. So as you can see, I've got more than one site. On the right-hand side, we can also look at specific employees. And we can also view this in tax or ex tax as well. So including tax and excluding tax. So I'm going to set my parameter for this month. Okay, so as we can see, we're now looking at the whole of this month. So we have 10 KPI tiles along the top. So our KPIs are our key performance indicators, and these are our 10 KPIs. So we've got net sales. That is amount of money generated from service and retail sales. Okay, we can also see our average per ticket. That is the amount of money generated per transaction. So a ticket is a transaction, if you weren't familiar with that. Okay, visits is the amount of visits to our salon. New customer visits, that's the amount of visits to our salon that were a brand new client. Rebooking, that is the percentage of our clients that rebooked. Service sales is the amount of money generated from services alone. And our retail sales is the amount of money generated from retail sales alone. Now, retail items per ticket, that is the specific individual unit amount of each product sold per transaction. Okay, so we can see that was no products purchased from one transaction, from one ticket. Okay, we can see the retail conversion rate. So that's how many of our services had an upsell of retail products. And lastly, we can see our upsells. Now, our upsells will include retail and services alike. So our upsells can be, let's say, from a half head of highlights to a full head of highlights, or when they just simply had a normal service, they then purchased a retail product as well. Okay, so that is our 10 KPIs. Now, our KPIs track this time period against the same time period last year. So sort of month on month, year by year. Okay, and you will have also noticed we have some percentages in the top right hand corner. Now, these percentages is anything that is red is a decrease of 5% or more from this time period last year. Okay, anything that is orange is an increase from 0 to 5%. And if we have a green square with a percentage, that is an increase of anything from more than 5%. Okay, so again, this tracks the same time period this year against the same time period last year. So month on month, year on year. So underneath, we can also have a look at an overview of our sales. And again, if we have more than one site, it will show both of our sites here. Okay, so we can see here we've got some little colors. Our blue represents our services. So we can see we have generated £14 in service sales. And we can also match that up here in net sales and average per ticket. Okay, and again, of course, on the right hand side, we can see our service sales. Now, underneath, we have a yellow line here where it says pre-booked. Now, what this is basically a forecast looking into the future. Okay, so as we can see, my date range is looking right up until the 31st of August. Okay, so we can see we are set to make £50 into the future. So that is a forecast. That is our pre-booked appointments. We can also have a look at our booking and visit source. So again, our booking and visit source is how our clients are making appointments in the salon. Okay, so unknown is typically things like the Anywhere. Okay, so unknown is our Anywhere app if you're already using Anywhere, and Live and Cloud is of course what we're accessing now. So that's our booking and visit source. We do have a specific report for the booking and visit source, but again, this is just a snapshot of an overview. Okay, now on the right hand side, we have our clients' visits by status. Okay, so you'll see here, I've only had the one client, unfortunately, not too good for this month, and that one client was a return client, so at least we are getting someone back. Of course, if you had your new clients and so forth, these would also show here, but mine are just return clients and just the one, unfortunately. Perfect. Okay, moving down, we have our employee performance. Now, I will show you a report called the Performance Summary, but this again is just a snapshot overview in the dashboard. So you can see a list of all of my employees on the left-hand side. You can see how much money they've generated, the average amount of money spent per ticket. Again, our tickets are our transactions. How many visits each of my staff members had, the rebooking percentage of each of those clients, the service sales and the retail sales. And the last one is retail items per ticket. So how many products were purchased per transaction. And if we scroll right down to the bottom, you will see we have our audit actions. Now, our audit actions are things like our voided transactions, our cancelled, and our discounts, anything like that. So we can see that kind of information there. So you can see at this salon, they voided 2 transactions to a total amount of £28.34. Okay, excellent. So that is our dashboard. Again, that is an overview of our business, but we do have some individual reports we can, of course, look at. So to access our reports, we just move to the top and we click onto our menu button. Okay, so to access our reports, you will see right down the bottom, there is a button where it says reports. And again, you can see there's our dashboard. It's exactly the same as the one right at the top of our menu bar. But the first report we're going to look at is our booking analysis. Now, again, this is very similar to what we saw in our dashboard. This will show us how our clients are making appointments in the salon. So we can see how much money was generated through Shortcuts Live and Cloud appointments. So that's our 20p there. And unfortunately, there wasn't anything else, any other appointments made for today. So we can see our total amount was 100% of our bookings was done through the Shortcuts Cloud system. We can set our parameters again on the left-hand side. We can have a look at yesterday. We can have a look at this week and so forth. And if we scroll down further, we can also choose our specific date range. With all of our reports, we can export them and we can print them out. Now, this is the only report, ladies and gents, that is the only time you can't change it to exclude tax. This is the only time it will only show you including tax. Okay, so this is our booking analysis report. So if I click the back button, we can have a look at some other reports available to us. So here we have our employee productivity. Now our employee productivity report is very similar to our appointment roster analysis report. Again, the appointment roster analysis report and the employee productivity report basically shows the productivity of our staff, so how well they are utilizing their time. Now, don't worry, sometimes this report can take just a few moments to download because it is pulling through quite a lot of information. So we're pulling through both sites here. So just give that a couple of seconds to download. Oh, didn't seem to like that. Let me try just looking at just the one site. If I look at shortcuts. Just going to try refreshing it. Sometimes it does do this. Again, I just log myself back in. I am working on a test system, so I do apologize. A slight glitch there. So let's see if we can get our employee productivity report to come up. Okay, doesn't seem to, oh, there we go. I was going to say, just as I was about to say, doesn't seem to want to play ball. There we go, it opens up. Perfect. So, perfect. So there we go. So this is our employee productivity report. So what this basically shows is the utilization of your staff members, how well they're utilizing their time in the salon. So again, along the top, we can set some parameters, i.e. our date range. We can choose a specific site to look at. So of course, I'm now just looking at the one site. And of course, we can look at a specific employee if needs be. So on the left-hand side, we can see all of my employees. The hours booked are the hours they were booked out with clients. Okay, so it's the amount of hours they were booked out with clients. The booked amount is how much money they were set to generate with those clients. And the available hours is the amount of hours they had left. So basically free time. Okay, so we can see if we look at Amelia here, she wasn't booked out at all with any clients, so she had 9.5 hours available. The estimated amount of available hours will show here the amount of money they could have generated if they had decided to use their free time to use with clients. We can also see the utilization. This will show their percentage. Now we're looking at a utilization of anything really around the 75% mark to ensure they're utilizing their time well. Okay, this column here where it says percentage of total booked hours, it will show a percentage for each individual client, each individual staff member. So it will show who had the biggest chunk of clients. So let's say Amy had 20, Amelia had 10, Bex had 10, and so forth. They would all add up to 100%. So you can track who is doing the most clients. And it will show theoretically exactly the same for the percentage of total booked amount. So again, who had the most clients. This column here will show the amount of clients they did. Again, the percentage who had the biggest percentage of clients. And again, the historical revenue per hour is how much money they averagely earn per hour on clients. So that's taken the amount of clients they did divided by how much they generated in sales. Perfect, and that is our employee productivity report. Again, very similar to our appointment roster analysis report. Okay. So if we click the back button, we can log myself back in. There we go. So that was our employee productivity report. We can now have a look at our trading summary. Now our trading summary is exactly the same as a trading summary in Fusion. So this report will probably be familiar to you anyway, but we're going to open it up. Let's just have a quick look at it just to make sure. Perfect. And again, at the top, we can set our parameters. So at the moment, it is just showing for the 12th of August. But let's say we want to change that parameter to this month. And again, we can change which site we wish to look at. Now, as you can see, I'm on a test system, so we haven't ran any bills through. But again, like I said, this report should be familiar to yourselves. So at the top, you will see any sales we have. That will be cash, card, that kind of thing, service, retail. Prepayments and liabilities. Your prepayments and liabilities are things like gift cards, gift certificates. That's money owed to clients. Okay. Redemptions, that's things like series redemptions, any series that people have redeemed. Ticket averages, again, our tickets are our transactions that will show the average spend of our services and the average spend of our products. Okay, but again, hopefully everyone should be fairly familiar with the trading summary. It's a very popular report for us to look at. Okay. Okay, so the other report we can look at is our employee performance report. Now, again, as we've already seen, the employee performance report will also show up on our dashboard, but this goes into slightly more detail. Again, we have the same parameters available to us at the top, and we can export this out again if necessary. So the first grid we are looking at here is our services. Okay, so this is purely services. This won't include retail. We can see our employees again on the left-hand side, how much money they generated in service sales, how many service tickets they did. Again, the ticket is a transaction, so that's how many transactions they had. Service units are your individual specific service. So by unit, I mean your wash, cuts and blow dries, your blow dries, your tints, your fringe trims, your eyelash extensions. Okay, so your units are your individual specific service. The average service per service ticket. Again, this is the amount of money generated per service per transaction. And again, that is worked out from taking the total amount of money generated from services divided by the amount of transactions they did. Okay, the fourth column is our average service units per service ticket. Again, this is exactly the same, but this will show us the average amount of individual services they are performing per transaction. The rebooking will show how many of these clients rebooked, and the percentage will show the percentage of the clients that rebooked. And anything on the right-hand side is our upsells. So the amount of money that was generated from an upsell. So that can be taking a half head of highlights to a full head of highlights, and then purchasing a product at the point of sale. Okay, and the upsell quantity is how many times that happened. So that's our services. We can now minimize that and expand our retail, and it will show us exactly the same information for retail only. Underneath that, we can add those two together. So we can have a look at our services and our retail combined. So again, if we minimize retail, we can expand total, and that will show us both service and retail added together. And this will also show us our sundry. So our sundry are our one-off payments. Sometimes people charge it for teas, coffees, that kind of thing. It's miscellaneous payments into the salon. Gift card is if you purchase your gift cards via shortcuts, and gift certificates are if you generate your own gift certificates yourselves. Series are block bookings, so if they purchase a series of, let's say, 6 blow dries up front. Again, our tickets are transactions. Discount is the amount of money given away in discounts. And the discount and promotion quantity, so that's how many promotions we gave away and how many discounts we gave away. And on the right-hand side, you will also see our tips. So this is the amount of money generated in tips and the tips quantity. So how many tips this staff member had. Now, this will only show up here, ladies and gents, if you have the tip button enabled in Shortcuts configuration. Okay. And underneath, as we scroll down, we can have a look at our hours. Now, again, this is very, very similar to our employee productivity report we looked at a couple of minutes ago, where unfortunately didn't want to play ball first time round and open up. Again, this also shows exactly the same information. Okay, so you can see our productivity, our percentage, that is our booked versus worked hours. The worked hours is how many hours they were set to work in a day or a week, sorry. And the booked hours is how many hours they were booked out with clients. The average amount of money generated per worked hour, again, is taking the amount of money they generated divided by how many hours they worked in your week, your month, your year, whichever your parameter is set at. The average amount of tickets per hour, that's again how many transactions they can fit in an hour. And the average service spend per hour, again, taken from the amount of money generated from services divided by the amount of hours they were booked out with clients. And the average service tickets per hour. So again, that's how many services they do per hour, how many service transactions they do per hour. And last but not least, right down the bottom, we have our customer visits. So you can see, again, the list of our employees and how many visits we had and whether they were walk-in, new, returning, male, female, children, or unspecified. And for each of those individual options, we will have a percentage on the right-hand side. So a walk-in percentage, a new percentage, returning percentage. Perfect. And that is our cloud reporting in a nutshell there. So the last thing we're going to look at, ladies and gents, is our targets. Okay, so our targets is currently only available to our Elevate Plus package. It's a fantastic thing to have our targets. So if it is something you do find interesting after this webinar, sorry, please do give a call to our customer care team and we can talk about getting you onto the Elevate Plus package. Okay, so targets. The first thing we need to do, we need to, of course, set up what our target is. Okay, so if we click onto the menu button at the top, and if we click onto general settings, this is where we can set our targets up first and foremost. Sorry, it's moved onto employees and rosters. I do this every time. So if we click onto employees and rosters, sorry, we can now set up our targets. So you'll see just here on the right-hand side, it says targets set up. So you can set your targets up for a business as a whole, or you can set them up for each individual staff member, or you can set them up for both. So you can do both employees and the business as a whole. So at the moment, we can only set the targets up for a weekly basis. Okay, so let's say I wanted to set Shortcuts Retreat Birmingham up for a target as a business as whole. Okay, so I'm going to say I want my net sales to be £5,000 per week. Okay, you don't have to fill out all of this information if you don't want to. If you just want to do one or the other, you can do. So I'm going to say I want my net sales to be £5,000 per week for Shortcuts Retreat Birmingham. So all we now need to do is click the done button. And that target is being set up. It is exactly the same for our staff members as well. So we have now set up our target of £5,000 per week. So how do we monitor this target? How can we keep track of this target? And it's exactly the same as accessing our reports. So all we need to do is click onto the menu button, click onto the reports button, and simply click onto the button here where it says targets. Give it a couple of seconds and this will hopefully download our targets for us. Perfect, so this is our target. So as we can see on the left-hand side, we have only generated £14 so far. So we are basically 100% below our target. We're nowhere near hitting our target. Okay, on the left-hand side, you will see the amount of money. So we've got £2,000, £4,000, £6,000 and so forth. And down the bottom, we have our days in the week because it goes by a daily basis, okay, for us to smash this target. So you will see we have our grey dotted line which moves through the middle of the graph. This is our target. This is the target amount we wish to hit. The blue line down the bottom is the amount of money we've generated so far. So this is the actual amount of money we've generated. And if we are looking into the future and we have some services already booked in, you will see a pre-booked, again, a forecast of how much money we are set to make. So if we go to Monday, we can see we are £833 below target. So we need to keep going. And on Tuesday, we're £1,666 below target. So as you can see, we're not making any money. We need to continue to hit this target, and we can continue that way. So this is how much money we would need to make each day to hit our target. So on Wednesday, at this rate, I would now need to make £2,500. On the Thursday, again, if I've still not made anything, I would need to make £3,318.83, and that would continue going until I hit my target of £5,000. So again, it gives you a daily overview of how much money we need to make in a daily basis to smash our target. Okay, ladies and gents, so that is our cloud appointment book, that is our cloud reporting, and that is our targets. Now, hopefully that all made sense to everyone. If you do have any questions, please feel free to fire those across now, and I'll be more than happy to answer those. Okay, so yes, absolutely. You will be sent a recording of this as well. So I know some people maybe a little bit at the beginning didn't quite catch us in time when we were talking about that. Yeah, absolutely. You will be sent a recording of this as well. Please do try it out. Do get your staff members set up with a cloud appointment book. Pop it on their phones, tablets, that kind of thing. You will see how easy and fantastic it is to start making appointments on the move. For our company managers and our site managers who are set up with that role, you're the only ones that will have access to the reporting and to set up targets, okay? But of course, you can change that in setting up the different roles that we went through earlier where you could tweak that. So yeah, you can change that as well. Perfect. Okay, any other questions for me this afternoon, ladies and gents? I do appreciate it is a Friday. We have been about 45 minutes, so I do understand you may wish to get back to your clients as well. Any other questions, please feel free to drop them across for me now. Okay, so you will get my email address for the next couple of days after the session. If there is something you do think about or you just want to ask me, do feel free to drop me an email. Just to make everyone aware, ladies and gents, we don't work Saturdays and Sundays, and we're actually closed in the education department on Monday. So if you do drop me a message sort of tonight or tomorrow, I won't actually be able to respond till it's around Tuesday or Wednesday. Okay, so it's worth mentioning that. But of course, if you do need our help desk, we are open 24/7. Okay, so thank you ever so much for joining me this afternoon, ladies and gents. If you are working over the bank holiday, hope you have a great bank holiday, and if you're not, hope you have a great bank holiday as well. If not, thank you ever so much for joining me this afternoon, and I hope to see you all again on my webinars very soon. Thank you ever so much. Bye-bye for now.